A famous basketball player named Luka told reporters that when he saw the trade, he had to check if it was April Fool's Day. I did the exact same thing, even though it was February, because none of this makes any sense. It actually gets more crazy. The longer you think about it, they traded a 25-year-old player who's like the second best of his age group for Anthony Davis and a draft pick. The Dallas team's boss, Nico Harrison, held a weird meeting with reporters to talk about why he did this, but he couldn't even answer basic questions. They asked, one reporter said, "You said this helps the team now and later, but how does this help later?" Nico said, "I think later means the time we're working with. I think he fits with our time plan. If you put him with Kyrie and the other guys, he fits right in with our plan to win now. What does later is now even mean?" Also, Coach Jason Kidd looks really sad, just like Dallas fans. So why did they really do this? Well, there's a crazy idea, and it's actually the only thing that makes sense. It's like, oh, okay, now I get why, but we're learning some really wild details about this. First, the Dallas boss decided that the best way to do this trade was to pick the deal he wanted and go to that team. It looks like it was Anthony Davis, to avoid the news reporters or Luka trying to control where he wanted to go. He called the Lakers boss, Rob Pelinka, 4 weeks ago, a whole month, and nothing got out to the press. The trade was the Lakers getting Luka and some other players. Dallas gets Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a draft pick. The Utah Jazz team helped out by getting Jalen Hood-Schifino and 2 picks. But the Jazz didn't even know what was happening. They didn't know that Luka was part of it until 30 minutes before the trade happened. And Nico has apparently hated things about Luka for years. He was Kobe's close friend and worked for Nike with him. And he compared Kobe's work habits to Luka and was disgusted. Someone from Dallas who didn't want their name known told ESPN, who gains weight during the season when you're playing 40 minutes a game. I wonder who said that. So they fired the fitness staff. They got rid of a health coach, a strength coach, and a therapist. It didn't work. Luka even said, "Oh, they get rid of everybody. So he hired his own personal trainers, and that didn't work either. Still out of shape with a bad body. And he's still scoring 34 points and getting 10 assists per game during the NBA finals, but Nico didn't care. And by the way, he said defense wins championships like 10 times during that meeting with reporters. Yeah, Dallas was 22nd worst at defense before the trade deadline last year. Then jumped up to 7th place after they got Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington. In the finals, they held Boston to only 101 points per game. How much better do you want? You can't beat the other team when they're only scoring 101 points in 2025. Actually, because the Celtics were just a much better team, okay? They ran into a really good Boston team who was just much better. Nico also says that Luka might not have signed his huge contract here. Luka immediately said, "No, that's not true." So the number one reason why this happened is because Mark Cuban sold the team. If Nico would have brought this idea to Cuban, he probably would have fired him just for thinking about it. Cuban once said, "If I had to choose between my wife and keeping Luka on Dallas, you'll find me at my lawyer's office getting ready for a divorce." Say what you want about Cuban's attitude or reputation, whatever. You could not question his love for basketball. But he sold the team to the Adelson family in December 2023. At the time, he said, "Oh, he's still going to run the basketball stuff," but that ended quickly. So when the phone call came through, the new owner said, "No problem." But why ruin a team that you just bought? Well, A Dallas lawyer posted a very interesting idea that was immediately shared again by the Golden State Warriors owner and billionaire, Chamath Palihapitiya, saying, yeah, this actually makes sense to me. So the idea goes like this. There is one reason why the Adelson family bought Dallas from Mark Cuban to begin with. They own Las Vegas Sands Corporation, a huge gambling company that has its main office in Las Vegas. But Vegas is about to get an NBA team, right? I mean, Adam Silver has pretty much promised it. Why not own a team in your own backyard? Why Dallas? Because it helps them expand their company by making gambling legal in Texas. California and Texas are the two big money makers for making gambling legal, major cash. So this family doesn't care about basketball at all. They are doing this all to make money. Cuban even said the goal for Adelson is that when we build this new arena, it'll be in the middle of a resort and casino. That's the mission. The last 10 months, Adelson gave $14 million to Texas politicians, but it didn't work. Texas said no to gambling recently, and now they have to wait 2 more full years for another chance to get it done. So they buy the team, they give millions of dollars, they hire people to convince politicians, and it doesn't work. What's next? Well, what if now they could threaten the city of Dallas by saying they'll move the team to Vegas? And I know that sounds crazy, but think about it. The NBA would never let them move from the number 4 biggest city in the US to a smaller city. But if they make fans so angry that half the seats are empty and the team's not making money, I mean, Kyrie, Anthony Davis, and Clay are so old and they don't have any draft picks until 2031. I mean, Dallas isn't just in trouble now. They are in trouble for years. They could have gotten a bunch of draft picks to rebuild. Nope. They just got 1 pick. The Lakers' 2029 pick, which at one time people thought was really valuable. Yeah, not anymore with Luka on their team. That pick is bad. And what about free agents? You know, Kyrie actually went there to play with Luka. Clay left Golden State and said no to the Lakers for a better chance to win in Dallas. This trade screws all of them too. No free agent is going to choose Dallas after this. So if ruining the team and fan base was your goal, it worked, okay? They lost about 1 million followers on Instagram alone. Listen to these diehard Dallas fans minutes after the trade happened. I'm not spending money with that team. If I do go there, it's to throw beer bottles on the court. This is going to be thousands of fans like me, if not more, who will probably not pay any more attention to this team ever again. I can't find a single fan that's happy about this, and in fact, I'm seeing a lot of fans say, I'm done with this. And isn't it weird that Dallas just said that they would give money back to any season ticket holders who aren't happy with this trade? When does a team ever say sorry to their fans like this? It's like they're saying, we don't need your money. We don't even need fans. So in 2 years, when that Texas gambling vote comes up again, the Adelsons can say, hey, Dallas hates this team anyway. I mean, tons of money and jobs are going to leave this state if you don't take gambling seriously. So the Post says the didn't trade Luka to the Lakers for old Anthony Davis. They traded Luka for a weapon they could point at Texas lawmakers. Let us have our casino, or we're going to Vegas, baby, and the NBA won't say no, which is a great idea. But my one problem with it is that Post makes it look like the new owners thought this all up. I think clearly GM Nico Harrison actually came up with the idea, but when he came to them, maybe they did agree because this theory is true. I mean, if they bought Dallas for making gambling legal anyway and it didn't work, why not do a crazy plan B? But what's really crazy is this trade is so unbelievable that it takes a wild conspiracy theory like this for it to actually make sense. But another trade is getting a lot less attention, and rightfully so. But it is a huge deal that San Antonio got De'Aaron Fox. The Sacramento Kings are actually happy about the Luka deal because it takes attention away from how dumb they were. So I explained that entire trade and how the Spurs absolutely stole De'Aaron Fox from Sacramento